Indigenes of Umweze in Baitoli local government area of Imo State are crying out to the federal government to save their community from raging erosion that has taken over houses and farmlands in the area. Residents are afraid that if appropriate measures are not taken in due time, the community might be wiped out to this natural, they might lose the community to this natural disaster, especially when the rainy season starts. Our community report tonight sheds light on the plight of the affected communities and what plans the authorities have to mitigate the problem. Umweze in Baitoli local government area of Imo State and its estimated 24,000 people have for some time now been living on the edge. Landslide erosion dots the landscape of this community, which has destroyed farmlands and buildings and has also been reported to have claimed lives.
A lot of people have fallen into the gully erosion. Some died, some disfigured.
How and when did this problem start? Channel Television is taken around the erosion sites.
The acidic rainwater coming from Amogugu, Umunkwa, Umuchimanwe, Umudeke, Umuchoke, they all find their level because this is a lower point. They will all come carrying the acidic water, and because of air and water, they begin the process of eroding the topsoil, and it goes to the subsoil.
We are begging and pleading on the government to really fast track the project and see that it will come into friction. And that will also help to alleviate most of the sufferings our people are having down here.
The dry season brings with it some reprieve, making it easy for residents to move around and be safe from falling into the gully.
We've been suffering terribly over erosion. All our lands, our farms, the whole houses has been eroded.
Many attempts by past state governments and lawmakers to fix the problem ended with little success. The World Bank and federal government agency in charge of erosion control, Nigerian Erosion and Watershed Management Project, says the contract to control the Umweze erosion sites has been approved and hopefully no distant time work will begin.
Currently the evaluation is on. We look forward to getting the emergence of the successful bidder between now and maybe the next 2 or 3 weeks' time, hopefully, after which the successful contractor, in quote, or the bidder, shall be handed over the site for immediate commencement of implementation. It's expected to run for 18 months.
Going by the promise by the new map, residents can heave a sigh of relief, although action to them is preferred to words. The death toll from Saturday's gas plant explosion in Sabontasha at Chikun local government area of Kaduna State has risen to 6. This has been confirmed by the state's deputy governor, Hadiza Balarabe, who visited the scene of the incident today. The deputy governor, who was accompanied by some top government officials, also visited some of the injured victims at hospital, as well as families of the dead victims, to sympathize with them over the unfortunate incident. She also announced that the state government will henceforth regulate the activities of illegal gas retailers in the state capital and environs.
Around. For the others that have sustained injuries, most of them had injuries that they could manage, like on a daily basis. So they have all been treated on. They're receiving treatment on an outpatient basis. They have been seen by the doctors. They have been assessed, and we thank God that they're doing well. Only that they will be coming in for follow-up. So we wish all of them very quick and recovery. This is like a wake-up call for everyone that's engaged in this sort of business to, comply with government regulations and rules in situating your businesses. This is a very painful experience for all of us, and I think it's a very hard lesson.
The spate of kidnapping in the nation's capital appears not to have gone with the year 2019, especially in Abaji Area Council. Less than 5 days into the new year, suspected kidnappers invaded Nuku village in Abaji Area Council and kidnapped a woman, Adi Anyino, and her daughter. Our correspondent, Terry Kumi, reports that one person was injured during the raid on the community.
This is Nuku Village in Abaji Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory. It's about 1 hour 20 minutes drive from the city center. The people of this town are not wealthy, but in recent times they have been attacked by armed robbers and kidnappers. The most recent attack occurred on the 3rd of January 2020. This is the house that the kidnappers are drawn to. We are made to understand that this is the second time in 5 months that it has been attacked. It belongs to a retired civil servant, Mr. Umar Anyinu, whose wife and daughter were abducted. Iko Anyinu is his son. He narrowly escaped the attack and tells us that he was the target of the abduction.
The first time my dad was kidnapped, I think they said they came for the pensions and the kind of activity that was given to him. I woke up that early morning and though I had some discouragement, some people, my colleagues, even some of my family members were like, why shouldn't I just wait till the following Monday? It's Friday, work is not going to be serious. So I just took my bag, I told my mom about it. Towards evening then, I had a call that my dad has been shot, my mom had been kidnapped and my sister. So that's how I managed to escape.
While Iko was absent, his cousin was home when the kidnapper struck.
It was about 10:30, so when we were slept. Later on, when I heard the sound, someone was now hitting our door. So on peeping through the window, we saw some gunsmen who bounced into the door. They hit the door and they opened up the door. And they shot our dad, and they took my sister and that of my mom.
Came with car or bikes?
They were not with anything, they were using their legs. They walked towards the bush.
Inside the house, we find Mr. Anyinu with a bandaged arm, where he was shot by the kidnappers. His family says he is still traumatized and due to his high blood pressure, is unable to speak to us.
This is one of the places of the bullets that they shot.
We're also shown some bullet marks around the house and traces of blood. The villagers say they are afraid for their lives.
We don't know their plan again because they have once come here before, and this is the second time. They took the dad before, and this is the second time they now come and took the mom and their last daughter. And everybody is wondering now, even to go inside and sleep is a case for us.
Ikon Anyinu tells me that his family has been asked by the villagers to move out because they fear that a structure like this in such a poor neighborhood attracts robbers and kidnappers. He, however, says that that is not possible because this house was built by his father with his pension. He's hopeful that the police can guarantee the safety of his family and that of the villagers. When we visited the police area command in Abaji, we were told that the case had been transferred to the FCT Police Command. Investigation is ongoing. In a telephone conversation, the FCT Police PRO, Anjuguri Manza, says investigation is ongoing and no amount has been communicated as ransom for the kidnappers yet. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
Property worth millions of naira have been destroyed in a multiple fire outbreak which occurred in the early hours of today in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. The fire disaster in Ibadan took place along Iyaganku Allen Road at one of the biggest indigenous furniture companies within the city, while the popular Akeso market in the city also suffered a similar fate on Saturday.
This is what is left of one of the biggest indigenous furniture showrooms in Iyaganku area of Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. The carcass of heavy machinery attest to the fact that an industry once exists here. It is, however, a case of double jeopardy, as one of the landmarks in the city, Erosion Market, was gutted by fire on Saturday night. Shock, disbelief, and frustration is boldly written on the faces of the affected traders.
Fire was very heavy and crossed to the other road. If you look to the other side, it affected many shops. It is very terrible. The fire service are already ready. They are trying their best. They are trying, but the thing started from down. It's not what gives the signal immediately.
Why would they say fire of a fire service? Less without fire extinguisher, there is no water, there is no fuel.
An angry mob took out their frustration on the fire station near the Erosion Market, destroying the fire truck for what they perceive as late response to the disaster.
So we want the state government to help us in the area of water. The vehicles are there, but there is no water. This has been their complaint.
In the last 1 week in the city of Ibadan alone, there have been reported cases of fire outbreaks in areas like Okeadu, Enyigrama, Idishin, and Iyaganku, leaving devastation in its wake and the loss of a person. The Oyo State government, in its reaction through the Commissioner for Information, Wasiu Alatunbosun, says people must exercise more restraints when handling flammable objects or electrical gadgets during this Harmattan season.
And now to the arts. Next of Kin is an exhibition of paintings and drawings by many young artists at the Thought Pyramid Arts Center, Lagos. It features works of art done by budding talents considered to be the ones to watch, who will take the art world by storm if given the chance.
It's the second edition of the annual juried art exhibition and competition called Next of Kin. These are the works of art that show what the future generation of artists are up to.
It's a juried art exhibition that is hosted annually for the upcoming Maths Masters. It's just a platform to showcase the new one, encouraging them to come up and all that.
Many of them earlier participated in an art competition which was organized by the Thought Pyramid Center in Lagos. And these images are the ones which struck a chord when the panel of judges were picking the final 10 from 100 entries.
My works are all part of a series that I titled Zebra Problem. It addresses the prevalence of child abuse, both sexual and non-sexual abuse. But I want to focus on sexual abuse because two of my works are actually on that particular topic. For some time now, we've had issues concerning this particular problem that we're having. We've had parents who give out their teenage daughters out to older men. We've had little children who have been abused. So I've decided to use my work as a voice for these children who are not heard.
So, what are these young bloods bringing to the table? From trendy topics to human angle stories to religious affiliations, it's a no-holds-barred platform.
My works explore things like religion, politics, basically things that that affect people in Nigeria around me. My works are inspired also by, if I hear a conversation on the bus, if I hear people talk about something, I like to develop on these things and and paint them, and here they are.
The Thought Pyramid Art Center wants the artists to be comfortable in their own skin, an essential tool if they want to take the art world by storm. It's said that the youth are the future, and these works speak volumes about the future, and the older generation can beat their chest that Nigeria will keep taking her pride of place in the art.